Okay, I'm back with a pretty disappointing recap with the Rexem 62 grain projectiles. It's not a very good looking target, is it? This was all the one charge at, I believe there were different seating depths that I loaded, but it doesn't matter because I've given up with this projectile anyway. Like this here for this was one group here, which is just atrocious. And this was my aiming point for this group because I didn't want to go down and put another target up. But as you can see, like none of these groups were. I mean, this here was just used to foul the barrel, but all these groups here, nothing fantastic. So I've given up with the 62 grain, which I only bought because at the time his 73 grain projectiles were out of stock. But I did end up getting some of the 73 grain projectiles, and I have another target over here with them. So I'll show you that now. And this is the target. These groups here were a different load completely loaded, that I still had loaded ammo for the factory ticker barrel that was on there. But these two up here, the 2206H and the 2208 loads, the important thing to remember about these is all I was doing here was loading in 0.2 grain increments to see if I hit max pressure, which I didn't with either powder. At the seating depth that I'm loading to, which is 1.848 CBTO, must be much longer than what the ADI book data is for the 73 grain ELDM, which I just copied their load data for the Rexem 73 due to it being the same weight and rough, sort of similar profile. I have more powder capacity in the case than what ADI obviously did with their load data at their length, because neither of these are compressed, and both of these at the top charge that these were supposed to be compressed. But each shot in here was 0.2 grains different from the others. So I started basically at max charge. The ADI max charge loaded back in 0.2 grain increments for 5 rounds for each powder. And that way I could start below their max, work up in case I hit max pressure. This one that dropped out of the bottom with 2206H, I think it was the second shot out of that test. And I had previously been shooting that other target with the 62 grainers, and it had been, I think I loaded that with 2208. I'm not sure, I can't remember. I'm not interested in remembering what that other powder was for that 62 grain load, because I'm not going to be pursuing it due to the gun just hating on it. But from this, these both hit, I think 2206H hit 2760 feet per second with the top ADI load, their book load. 2208 hit 2763. So I'll just put this down so I'm not having to hold it in focus on the camera. But basically what that means is I've got a little bit more to go with each powder, but I've loaded an OCW test. I sort of found a flat spot in here for velocity. 0.2 grains apart. I think there was only like 8 feet per second difference between two of the different charges. But I've loaded an OCW test with 2208, and I've gone basically I've got 11 different sets of charges to test. I'm going to shoot 3-round groups, round robin between the different charges. And what I'm going to do is I've gone 0.4 grains higher than what I went with the highest charge here, just to see if I can hit max pressure here. Hopefully I can. I think the ADI book data showed 28, just over 2,800 feet a second. So I'm roughly sort of 40 feet a second off what their book data is. I might pick that up with that 0.4 grains. But yeah, hopefully, like with this, a full grain difference and it shot a 0.37 1-inch group. That's pretty promising, isn't it? So we'll see how we go with this OCW test. That's the next thing that I'll be doing. Hopefully next weekend or even the weekend after. We'll see how we go. Anyway, that's a quick little update.